So I got an idea. I think it's gonna be the greatest idea ever. And just stay with me here for a second, okay?
Do you have a cold or something? Why do you sound like that? You don't sound like I know it's back to school season, but do you have? Is there some sort of
No. What do you?
I don't.
What do you?
I don't know what you sound like.
I don't know what you're talking about, Natty. It's me, Aloysius J. Pig, obviously, and I sound like myself. You know why? Because I am myself. Anyway, stop interrupting. Here's what we're gonna do. I got a big idea for the Bumper Podcast. We're gonna make it so that every single episode feels like it could be the last episode. Okay?
No, but why would we do that? That doesn't seem like that's going to make anyone want to listen, because if they have no idea.
Yeah, well, hold on a second, Natty. I think I understand what Aloysius is talking about, because what it does is it keeps the audience on their toes. Because typically, television shows, the finale always has the biggest ratings ever, right? And so people say, "Oh man, this is the end of the show. I've got to listen to it, and it's going to have everybody's going to be listening to it. So I want to make sure that I listen to it, so that if there's a conversation, I don't want to be left out or anything. So this could be it. I'm going to listen, right?
Yeah, so that's exactly what my plan is, right? It's going to create some even more instability. So now, instead of people like, I thought this was a weekly show, why is it late? Why isn't it coming? Maybe, they're going to listen to it, and they're going to think, okay, well, maybe that was the last show. I don't know. Like, we don't actually say during the episode, like, well, like Old Lang Syne or whatever, like whatever song you sing at the end of a show, for old acquaint, that one. But because that would be too on the nose, that'd be too obvious. And after a couple of episodes, I think that people would understand that it's like one of those stores you see in New York City that has giant store closing signs. And then you go back a year later, and it's like clearance, store closing. And it's like, well, you can't close for a year. You can't do that. So that, we can't do that. But what I'm saying is, we just make it feel. We put it out into the ether, We put it out into the zeitgeist, as it were.
Well, okay. I'm intrigued by your plan. We're gonna stay away from the zeitgeist because I'm terrified of the zeitgeist, and I don't want to go into the zeitgeist. I want to stay away from the zeitgeist if at all possible. But okay, to your point, psychologically, it makes a lot of sense, because for whatever reason, we have not been recording on a consistent basis for quite some time, and a lot of life, lots of life going on, and so maybe this is kind of a workaround. And then, once we get back on kilter, we can...
Hold on there, Natty. It's me, Rufus. Rufus. I will not be wearing a kilt, all right? That is a representation of a culture that I do not belong to, and I will not be appropriating anything such as anything. Understand? Plus, my knees, they don't look as good as they did when I was back there playing, la football, cross, basketball, volleyball, all the sports that I was playing back in the day, okay? So, I'm gonna abstain from that.
Perfect. Great. Thanks so much, Rufus, for jumping in and really adding to the conversation, that telling us that you will not be wearing a kilt, which that had nothing to do with anything that we were talking about.
Yeah.
We were talking about a new vision for the show, a new idea, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. What we're talking about is a monumental shift in the way that all media will be done, where you're like, oh, you never know, is this going to be the last time that I hear producer? You don't know, right? You're coming to this show, and it's named something like Rufus won't wear a kilt. which is a terrible name for an episode, but, just stick with me. And then you go and you listen to it, and you're like, oh, this is going to be about Rufus, Rufus, not wearing a kilt. And you sit and you listen, and you're, oh, this is funny. Where's this going? I don't understand what anybody is saying on this show. Is this even a podcast? All the things that people tend to say about the Bumper Podcast. And then, you turn to get to it and get into the middle, and you're like, huh, I wonder if this is the last time I'm ever going to hear this. Huh, I don't even know. And then they're invested. They're really into the show, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Now, as far as investments, I did want to bring to the table a bit of a scheme that I...
Wait, a scheme? A scheme?
No, sorry, I mean a plan.
Uh-huh.
You're right. I did say a scheme. I meant a plan. Obviously.
Yes, obviously you meant a plan. But I'm gonna actually cut you off, Rufus, and I apologize because you already kind of took us in a tangent with the whole kilt thing. And now I don't want to hear about your investment scheme or plan or any of it right now. Maybe we can talk about that later. So I do like the idea. I don't know. Let's do some research. Like, does anything like this exist where you go into a situation, you go into some media thing, we're not media, into some entertainment. No, we're not entertainment. If you go into something that you use to consume time, which we certainly do, and but you go into it just never knowing if that's the last time you're gonna hear it.
Yeah, I don't know if it exists, but we can get our research, our crack team of researchers out there to look it up for us. Hey, Bumper Podcastketeers, if you're listening to this right now, please go and do some research and get back to us on if this concept exists and what it possibly could be called.
Did you just throw it out to the audience, to the people listening, for them to go and do research? Is that something that we can do? I don't know if we've ever done that. 400 and whatever episodes, I don't even know if we've ever gotten an email. But now we're gonna start as we're developing this new thing where it could be the last show at any point. We're now asking the audience. We're phoning a friend. We're asking the audience to give us information to be our crack research team. Is that what you said?
Yep. I read that if you get listeners more engaged, then they're gonna feel like they are invested.
Now, investments, I could,
Stop it, Rufus.
Well.
No, like they're more emotionally, we'll say, invested.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Emotionally invested in a...
Again, stop it, Rufus.
My goodness.
Pig, have you been like research? Like, it sounds like you've been researching and reading or something. Like, why do you all of a sudden have all of this this knowledge about how to get interactive? I guess how to get people to listen, how to get people. I'm not going to say the word, but what you said. I don't know how to say it otherwise. To get people more interested. That's not what I want. But you understand what I'm saying. While I'm trying to not say the thing that's going to make Rufus jump in and be ridiculous, right?
Yes, Natty, I understand, and I think the rest of us probably understand as well, because we're actually very smart, The fact that we figured out how to do all this podcasting, as I look back on all the years of being the producer here at the Bumper Podcast at headquarters in Coffee Can Alley with Natty Bumpercar and Aloysius Jet Pig and you and Rufus T. Rufus and all of the fun characters that have come through these doors, I reminisce on the past, and the things that we had and the things that, we might have in the future. And, well, it just makes me know that you'd have to take every single day as you have to take it as a special day, because you just never know when it's going to be your last day, okay?
Yeah, producer, I hear what you're putting down, and you're really pulling at some heartstrings here. When I think of 12 years ago when we started doing the Bumper Podcast, 13, 14? My goodness, I must have started when I was like 2 years old. Is that even legal? Anyway, when I think of back then, and there weren't even a lot of podcasts out there, and then we came in and we started doing our thing, and Natty, you had to set up all the, I don't even know what you did,
Yeah.
but you put it out into the world, and we had a podcast, and we could talk to people, and we could get all kinds of feedback and stuff from the listeners, and
So
man, it just, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know it, but no, listen. I see what you're both doing, and you're doing a wonderful job at it, producer Aloysius. You're making it sound like this is the last episode of the Bumper Podcast. You're being nostalgic. You're reminiscing. I even feel like you might have had you've gotten a little choked up, right? A little bit emotional. And listen. This is the first time we're hearing this idea of trying to make every episode sound like the last episode, and I think it's pretty neat, and I do want to do some research, and
now here's the thing. Yeah, if we're gonna have other people doing research, we're gonna have to have them sign an NDA.
What's an NDA? What is that even? NDA?
Well, it's called an NDA.
Yeah, I mean, I just said it back to you. So, just for us common folk who don't speak legalese, what is an NDA? What does that mean?
I was trying to figure it out while you were talking too, and I'm like, Natty ND, but then dummy car. No, that's not it. Okay, unless it is, I don't know. But then a Natty dummy car always. No, that can't possibly. That's not a legal term. That's not what it is. What are we talking about here, Rufus?
Well, it stands for NDA, and it's a legal term. It was coined. It's in the Zeitgeist. I don't know if you ever looked into it, but it's right there in the Zeitgeist. It stands for what it stands for. Okay, and if you want to do some research, let's have everybody listen to the Bumper Podcast. Go out and find out and tell us what an NDA is, because that means you're learning, which means this is an educational podcast, which means it's going to give us some legs. We're really going to go places with this, right?
Yeah, so an educational podcast that's in the zeitgeist, that always sounds like it's going to end, and that has all kinds of audience participation. Listen up, Bumpercar. This isn't the last episode. This is just the beginning.
The Bumper Podcast is an oftentimes hilarious weekly romp with Natty Bumpercar and some of his pals. It is family-friendly, clean, and ridiculous. Thanks a bundle for listening. If you love our show and you'd like to help support the podcast, check out our Patreon page at https://www.patreon.com/nattybumpercar. Also, pretty please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Share it with everyone everywhere, post about it on all of the social medias, or leave a rating and review. The Bumper Podcast is produced at headquarters in Coffee Can Alley. It's recorded, mixed, and produced by producer. The Bumper Podcast features contributions from Aloysius J. Pig, Rufus T. Rufus, Doodle Poodle, Robot, Trunks, and a gaggle of other silly rascals. Our head talker is probably Natty Bumpercar. We also have an absurd newsletter. Check it out and subscribe at nattybumpercar.com/subscribe. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Natty Bumpercar. Hugs and hearts. See you soon.